An active jet stream sets the stage for snow, severe weather, and heavy rainfall this upcoming weekend. We have all the details and more next at the Weather Farm. Welcome to the Weather Farm. We have your forecast for your Thursday and the upcoming holiday weekend. Let's dive right in. As we begin our Thursday, we are watching an area of heavy snow moving out of Montana into Wyoming. This is going to bring significant snow for those mountain elevations. 1 to 2 feet of snow is likely. We can even see snow down at the bases of the mountain ranges accumulating up to 3 inches. Something we're definitely going to be watching. We're also going to be watching storms as they move out of Missouri early on our Friday, but it's going to be across Iowa that we start to take a focus on our Thursday afternoon as that system moves through the upper Great Lakes. Across the Canadian prairies, we are seeing snow across Manitoba making its way into Ontario, and we see snow exiting out of Quebec making its way to the Canadian Maritimes. For our Thursday, temperatures are going to be extremely warm across the Central Plains. I mean, look at Nebraska. In southeast Nebraska, you're going to have temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, while in far northwestern Nebraska, you're going to be flirting with temperatures in the low 40s. A significant temperature gradient exists here across the northern plains and the central plains. This is just a sign of the intensity of the jet stream and the type of weather system that is going to be moving through over the next 72 hours. 90s are spreading their way up through Kansas. Where that snow is across parts of Wyoming, we're going to be held down in the 20s and 30s. But the eastern half of the United States, you're beginning to warm up after a couple of cooler days earlier this week. In terms of that snowfall, as I mentioned, across parts of Wyoming, we are going to see snowfall in those highest elevations, those highest mountain ranges, exceeding 12 inches of snow. But snowfall is going to be likely across most of the lower elevations as well. For our Thursday, as I mentioned, we do have a risk of severe weather, mainly centered over eastern Nebraska into Iowa. There is going to be a marginal risk up across Minnesota and Wisconsin. An isolated thunderstorm could be in play there later in the day on Thursday. And the greatest threat for this system is not going to be the tornadoes. It's not going to be wind. It is going to be hail. And that's why the Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and highlighted most of Iowa with a 15% chance of hail for our Thursday. We even have a hatched area from eastern Nebraska, including the Omaha area, through western Iowa and far northwestern Missouri. This is an indication that significant hail could be likely in this area. So we're going to watch this during the day on Thursday. So if you're in those areas, have a way to be weather aware. Make sure you get those notifications on your phone. Make sure you have a weather radio in your home or your business so you can be alerted if severe weather is moving your way. We don't expect tornadoes, but we can't rule them out across this area on our Thursday. And by the time we get to Friday, that snow continues to fly across parts of Wyoming, making its way into Colorado. That's going to be that next system that ejects out. We talk about low pressure systems as they eject out of Colorado. Those are the ones that this time of year tend to bring the severe weather. Across the Canadian provinces of Ontario, we're seeing that rain and snow mixed just south of Hudson Bay as that moisture continues to move off to the east. In terms of our precipitation Thursday into our Friday, where we see those thunderstorms develop and where we see those heaviest downpours occur across central Iowa, we could see 1 to 2 inches. Same thing across central Minnesota into northern Wisconsin. We could see a strip of 1 to 2 inches, but generally rainfall amounts are going to be light, generally 1/4 to 1/2 an inch across most of the upper Great Lakes area by the time we wake up on our Friday morning. As we wake up on Friday and we make our way into the long holiday weekend, we're seeing that warmth continue to move towards east. Places in the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, you're going to be flirting with 80 degrees plus. The real warmth along the Gulf Coast, where temperatures are going to be the mid to upper 80s. In Texas, you're going to be in those 90s. But even into southern Michigan, we're seeing that warmth as we continue to see that strong temperature gradient across the central plain. Northwestern Kansas, you're in the upper 30s, while southeastern Kansas, you're approaching 80 degrees. So this is going to set the stage for our storms on our Friday, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and highlighted a large area from Texas all the way up through Michigan of having a level 2 risk of severe weather for our Friday. And so we expect storms to develop in the afternoon on our Friday and continue to make their way to the north and east through overnight Friday into early Saturday morning. So let's take a look at that model. This is the GFS, and so we're going to look at our system. There's that rain across the northern Great Lakes on Thursday, the snow across Wyoming. But as we move into Friday, we start to see that low eject there out of Colorado. It's going to start to send storms out across Illinois and Missouri, and we could have a line of storms of heavy rain, and we're going to start that training effect of this, of consistent precipitation from Oklahoma through Indiana. But watch this low pressure system, 1009, 1010. This is on Easter morning, 1009. It's going to continue to sweep off to the north and east, and we're going to get even enough on the backside on our Monday to wrap around some colder air and have some snow across southern Wisconsin into Michigan. Let's look at this same system from the European model. So again, we have those storms across Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin Thursday night into Friday morning. The snow moves out of Wyoming into Colorado. We see that low begin to develop. Here it's a 999. This is the Friday low, so we get that line of storms, severe weather moving through, and a training effect going on most of the day on Saturday. But watch that low there in Texas. We're going to start to see that line develop 1003, 1001, 998, 995. This is a much more intense system, and we could be dealing with a pretty significant severe weather outbreak Sunday afternoon into Sunday night from Texas all the way up through the Ohio Valley. This is something we're definitely going to be watching over the next 24 to 48 hours because there has been significant deviation in those model runs. And you may be asking yourself, why does the pressure, why did you focus on that Sunday system and the pressure map? Well, the GFS model, if you remember, was at 1008 millibar as it continued to move through. The European model was a lot lower pressure, about 998 millibars, down to maybe, I think it was 995 at one point. And that 10 millibars doesn't seem like a lot, but if we look at that GFS model, it's more of a moderate, consistent rain, not heavy, not necessarily a lot of severe weather. Winds are going to gust 35 to 45 miles per hour from Texas through Indiana into Michigan. But if the European model is the one that wins out and it's a deeper low, what we're going to see is that rainfall a lot more intense and heavier in a quick, more localized area. We're going to see stronger wind gusts. We're going to see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. We could see those severe criteria being met for thunderstorms with the hail, the winds, and the heavy rain. It also could be an indication that as that system is so wrapped up and the pressure is so intense that as quickly as it spins up and intensifies, it can also be weakening very quickly. So while the model does show it continuing for most of Sunday into Monday at that lower barometric pressure, there's always the risk the storm system intensifies too much and it kind of spins itself out and weakens very quickly, and then we don't have that severe weather. But I want to look at a couple models here, and it kind of shows what I'm talking about. The European model, which was more intense, as I mentioned, heavier amounts of rain, a lot more localized. We see that through Missouri down towards Arkansas and southeastern Kansas. That's where we expect that heavy axis of rain to set up then. 2 to 4 inches are going to be likely, with general 1 to 2 inch amounts north of the Ohio River up through Iowa by the time we get to Monday. So again, a lot more intense rain, heavier rain, but it's more concentrated. Now let's look at the GFS model. It was a more moderate general area of rain, so we see a wider spread of 2 to 4 inches that stretches from near Cleveland back through Springfield, Illinois, down toward Texas. And we see generally 1 to 2 inches, again, north and west of the Ohio River and west of the Mississippi. But again, that heavier axis of rain tends to be a little bit more widespread. It's more of a gentle rain, if you will. So that's something we're definitely going to be watching over the next 24 hours is which model does win out, because the GFS yesterday was much more intense than it is showing today. And as we get to that Sunday, as I mentioned, we're going to have to watch because the Storm Prediction Center has also gone ahead and issued a marginal risk of severe weather from Texas up through Arkansas up to the lower Ohio Valley. So we're going to continue to watch to see where this area of concern shifts and if it's expanded, upgraded, or what over the next 24 to 48 hours. But after we get through this weekend's weather, we're going to stay in a very active pattern for the Central Plains, Southern Plains, into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, as we see several rounds of storms mid to late next week as we make our way towards the end of April. Now, where these exact systems will set up, that's still to be determined. We're over a week out from now. But there are indications that we are going to be in a very active pattern over the next 8 to 14 days. And our temperatures are going to bear that out. We're going to have warmth across most of the United States above normal temperatures as we close out the month of April. And where we see the Southern Plains, the Mississippi River Valley, the Tennessee Valley, stretching up into the lower Ohio Valley, that's where we see the greatest chance of seeing above normal precipitation as we close out the month of April. Now, parts like Texas, you definitely need the rain. But places like Missouri into Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois, your grounds are very saturated from the rains that we had at the beginning of the month. So this above normal precipitation is going to continue to prolong that saturated ground, not allowing the farmers to get out into the fields, get those crops planted until those fields dry out a little bit more. So we're going to continue to watch this. We will bring you all the latest details that we have here at the Weather Farm. We hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. Share this video with a friend. Let them know where you get your weather content. If there's anything we can do for you, drop that down in the comments section down there. We'd love to know how we can serve you better. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.